Hello, everybody. Mike Welch coming to you from the winner's circle at Churchill Downs. It's going to be the winner's circle for 13 races tomorrow. Of course, the Kentucky Derby festivities for the winners happen across the racetrack. The sun is trying to peek through right now, but we better get a good look at it while we can, because the forecast is going to get bleak in the next 48 hours or so. Hopefully, things won't get as bad as predicted, and we will skirt some of this rain that's heading this way. But for now, this is our final workout report. We've been here now 10 days or more, maybe 12 days now, looking at all the contenders for this year's Oaks and the Derby. We talked about the Oaks horses yesterday. Obviously, a lot has happened since our report yesterday. Omaha Beach is now out of the race, so what was a wide open race to begin with without the expected morning line favorite becomes even more wide open right now. We also have a situation with Heichel at this time where his status is a question mark as well. He was conspicuous by his absence this morning, I thought, during the Derby Oaks training session, and then my colleague Dave Grenning reported the story that he's dealing with an abscessed foot, and we're going to have to see how that situation progresses over the next 48 hours. As far as the training session this morning, other than Heichel not being out there, nothing really new to report. Bodie Express had his first gallop over the track today. He is now drawn in. He will be number 21 in the Derby field, and he was kind of I guess you could say he was just kind of green this morning. He was looking around, throwing his head. He was right down on the rail, galloping. First day over the racetrack, I guess you could excuse him for that, but obviously being a maiden and from an extreme outside post, a big long shot in the race. Game winner went out at 9 o'clock, as he has been the last 4 or 5 days, and he looked good again today, had his ears pricked, galloped around there with no issues. So game winner now looks like he is going to be the Derby favorite. As for everybody else, pretty much par for the course, what we've been reporting. Bellafina again, again, we've been talking about her right along, and she wasn't any smoother this morning than she was the last couple of days. She is still, I guess, going to be the Oaks favorite, but a lot of negative talk here. I don't think she's going to be that 2-to-1 morning line price. Probably going to be a little bit higher than that at this point. We're going to take, like we did yesterday, a quick look at the Oaks field. Today we'll take a quick look at the Derby field. You can get all our full report information on the workouts of all these Derby horses in our DRF Clocker report. The Friday report is already up. The Saturday report hopefully will be up later this afternoon. Just going down in post position order, War of Will obviously comes off a big work. He was a little headstrong in his work. He drew the rail. Expect to see him to show speed along the inside, even though he will now break from post 2, not post position 1. But coming off that poor effort in Louisiana Derby, you can almost say he hasn't had a real race under his belt since mid-February, and that's kind of a negative here coming into the 1.25 mile Kentucky Derby. Taxes look good from what I've seen of him since he's been here. Pretty mover, makes a great impression in the mornings. By my standards, has had 4 excellent works here in a row, including culminating with a huge gallop out work here over the weekend, and he couldn't be doing any better. If he's good enough, whether he's good enough is a question. He looks like he's coming up to his best race yet. Gray Magician got real hot here yesterday in his first visit to the track during the Derby Oak session. I did not get a good look at him this morning. Improbable has had 2 works locally. The first one, kind of a maintenance move. He did show some speed, 48 flat, but rank a little bit early. Was rank in his last move, but settled in nicely for Florent Giroux after the opening quarter mile, and I just loved his gallop out. Big, long strides. The rankness is a question mark. He's going to have to settle down during the early stages of the race if he's going to get 1.25 miles. Vacoma worked well in his final work down at Palm Beach Downs, and no problem since he's arrived here. Maximum Security, hard to learn anything off those mile works of Jason Service at Palmettos. I liked him a little better today. I thought he was going a little smoother today than he was yesterday. Tacitus, not the greatest workhorse in the world, but he's made a good impression on a regular basis for me in the mornings. Love the way he picks up the pace at the end of all his gallops. Pluquet Parfait, and again, I know I didn't get that right. He's made a good impression here. Last work, 5 ace and 102. Nothing much to rave about, but he's come out of the work looking great. Cutting Humor, I thought, worked terrific down in Florida on several occasions at Palm Beach Downs. So he's certainly coming into the race in good form. Whether he's good enough remains to be seen. Heichel, again, the problem. We'll wait and see if he will make it to the starting gate. Omaha Beach is out. Code of Honor couldn't be doing better. Some big works at Keeneland, a super work here. Looks like he's coming forward to his best race. We give him a mulligan for that slow pace in the Florida Derby. Win got involved in that kind of a kerfuffled work here where 4 of them came down the track. He was the widest of them all. Fought back gamely against Tacitus and Country House in that work. So made a good impression on a lot of people. Made a good impression on me too. He's doing well. Whether he's good enough, whether he wants to go a mile and a quarter remains to be seen. Master Fencer, the Japanese horse, blew out an average-looking 3/8 here, pulled up a half mile. Game winner, nothing wrong with the way he's looked here. I know the report on his last work from my colleague Toby Terrell was a positive one before shipping from Santa Anita. Question here is, can he avoid the trouble he's gotten into in his last couple of races, actually last 3 races, dating back to his victory in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile here last fall, where he didn't have the best of the trip, but was able to overcome it and win. Roadster has done well. I thought it progressively gotten better since he's gotten here. Long Range Toddy, nothing wrong with the way he's trained. Spinoff worked pretty well down at Palm Beach Downs. I thought Cutting Humor was a little better, and I thought Spinoff and Cutting Humor have both looked well the 2 days I've seen them since they've arrived here. Country House on the outside there, the tough post to overcome, but he's trained well. Worked with Tacitus pretty much on even turns. And Bodie Express, the maiden, like I said, had his first day on the track today. So that's a quick look at the field. Before I leave here and wrap up these works, I got to give a big shout out to my producer and camera person, Barbara Livingston. She deserves to be sainted for putting up with me and getting through these things with a busted camera and everything else that's gone on, the bands in the background, the noise around. So a big tip of the hat to Barbara Livingston for helping us with these Derby videos every year, not just today. The Breeders' Cup, the Derby. We got through these, we got through them again, and now it's just waiting out the weather and waiting for the big moments, Friday in the Oaks, Saturday on the Derby, and we still have the great coverage to look forward to. Got to find out what's going on with Heichel, got to find out what's going on with a lot of things still here, and it's still that information still to come on DRF.com. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with this year's Derby.